All right, welcome back. I'm joined now by Larry Klayman. He's founder of Freedom Watch. He's former federal prosecutor, and he's with us on the show today. Hey, Larry, good to have you with you. Happy Friday.
Good afternoon.
Let's start with this series of reports that have been propped up by drama all over MSNBC and CNN and God knows where else, that the Trump lawyers are trying to undermine. They're trying to be nefarious about the Mueller investigative team. Well, the fact is, 3 of the 5 attorneys that Mueller has hired are Democratic donors. Big-time Democratic donors, as a matter of fact. Tens of thousands of dollars we're talking about here, Larry. I mean,
Right.
It's nothing. I don't think that it's untoward that the Trump administration point this out, because back in June, Larry, CNN actually saw fit to write about it on their own webpage after looking at FCC records. I guess we're not shocked anymore by what they run with, are we?
Not only that, what it basically does is it freezes Mueller out from investigating Hillary Clinton, because some of those lawyers actually represented the Clinton Foundation. So they got a conflict of interest if they get into that. It's going to be a one-sided investigation into President Trump, his family, and his associates. But what's even more troubling, Bill, is that about 15 lawyers have been hired so far. What do you need 15 lawyers for when you've got an FBI to do an investigation? You're prejudging where you're going. You only have 15 lawyers, a lot of them former prosecutors, if you've decided you're going to bring prosecutions. So the handwriting is on the wall with regard to Mueller. And of course, as you know from prior appearances on your show, our whistleblower, Dennis Montgomery, an NSA CIA contractor who left with 600 million pages of information, can testify that Mueller was engaged in illegal surveillance against Trump as well as Comey when he was running the FBI. So as far as I'm concerned, the president needs to get these facts out. He needs to get lawyers representing himself who really know criminal defense, not people who are television commentators and stuff.
Yeah.
And I like some of these people. They're good people. They're nice people. But he needs to get a hardcore team that's going to go for the jugular. And frankly, in the end, he may need to fire Mueller, because Mueller is corrupted. And in fact, he very well could be indicted himself for this illegal surveillance that Montgomery is prepared to go in front of congressional committees and testify about.
Oh, boy. Can you imagine the stuff that would be all over the scenery if he fired Mueller? I don't know if he can even do that. I know he has the authority to do it, Larry. I don't know if he has the political capital to do that.
Well, political capital is one thing. I'm not sure that he has political capital in the ordinary sense right now, because the world is against him except his supporters. And I can tell you, traveling around the United States as I do, his support is stronger now than ever, because every time the left tries to take him out, every time someone like Mueller tries to really under the table do a number on the president, the supporters of the president dig in their heels and they feel even more strongly about him. And I'm one of those, because I think what's going on right now is a coup d'etat using what has become a very corrupt legal system. And I can tell you that as a lawyer of 40 years, where you can't even find judges anymore that rule on the law. They rule on their political persuasion, and about 80 to 90% are Clinton and Obama appointees. The country is spinning wildly out of control. The president needs to do what he needs to do.
Yeah, and it just amuses me to no end that, this idea that he's trying to undermine Mueller, and I use that in quotes. It is Mr. Mueller who has been undermining himself, I would argue, by the hires that he has made and the apparent conflicts of interest that do exist. It will be interesting to see, Larry, if he pays attention to you and says, okay, fine, let's just take it all down, as a matter of fact. The other small thing I just want to touch on is the House Ethics Committee. They are slow rolling an investigation into Devin Nunes. Remember when they got all upset because he ran over to the White House and said, I have some information I need to talk with the president about. It was top secret information. I need to get there and talk to him about this. And everybody lost their minds. It had to do with the unmasking of people. And Lord knows that the House does not want to move that forward, because then they're going to have to get into an investigation of the Obama administration and their unmasking, of the Clintons and what they've done. It is a festering cesspool. Forget a swamp. It's a cesspool down there, Larry.
It's a joke. It's just a cover. The House Ethics Committee has never really done anything. That's why I founded Judicial Watch and ran for the Senate after that. I was going to take the concept of Judicial Watch inside of Congress and be like a Trojan horse. And it's why I now founded Freedom Watch and run that, because we don't have an ethics mechanism in government. It doesn't exist. And it doesn't exist either in the House of Representatives, the Senate, or even the Justice Department itself. And that's the problem. And that's why the American people need to allow President Trump to do his job and to clean the swamp. And we're trying to help him at Freedom Watch. You can see it at freedomwatchusa.org. We criticize when appropriate. We take action when appropriate. We're nonpartisan. But this president needs to be allowed to clean the swamp. And I'm from Florida. I know what a swamp's about.
I don't know. I've been in a couple of sewers. I think it smells more like that, Larry, to be really quite honest with you. Really quickly.
Alligators in the sewers of New York City, apparently. So.
Really quickly before we go, you only have 30 seconds. Any quick thoughts on the resignation of Sean Spicer?
I think it's a good thing. I mean, look, he seems like he's a nice guy, but he wasn't up for the job. And I think that Sarah Huckabee will do a whole lot better job. And I don't see why you need all these press conferences. I mean, Europe doesn't do it. Let the president speak for himself. Bring him in front of Congress like the House of Commons does with the Prime Minister of Great Britain.
Oh, God, I live for question time. Larry, I got to run. Thanks so much, Larry Klayman.